video, we'll dive right into the 457 deferred compensation plan. Now, you may be asking yourself, what is a 457 plan? A 457 is a supplementary retirement savings program that allows you to make contributions on a pre-tax basis. Federal and in most cases, state income taxes are deferred until your assets are withdrawn. Usually during retirement when you may be at a lower tax bracket. An employer-sponsored tax-deferred retirement saving vehicle available to some state and local government employees. So this is a supplemental income. So the major one will typically be a 401, and this is always there as a supplemental. Now you should know one of the big things with the 457 plan is that it does not have a 59 and a half rule, meaning you can withdraw funds at any time, once you have separated from your employer. So you don't have to wait until you have retired to take a withdrawal. So, and that is the big advantage actually for this plan. Anyway, I will go ahead and break it down so that we can learn, all the features as well as the benefit the plan has. Okay, so contributions. So some of the features and the benefits are contributions to 457 plan are tax deferred. Yes, that is correct. That means you won't pay taxes on them until you withdraw the funds. Now, keep in mind that this may be a disadvantage if you are at a higher tax bracket by the time you retire or by the time you withdraw these funds. But, ideally, if you're making these contributions while you have your high income job, later when you retire, maybe you do not have enough money coming in, your income is not that high, then it may you may be paying lower taxes on the funds. But if your taxes are higher, it really won't be an advantage. Either way, taxes are deferred until when you withdraw the funds. Earning on the retirement money are tax deferred. Okay, so again, um, you know just the same as the contributions, also the earnings, you're not paying taxes on the earnings right away. When you get the earnings, you will pay upon the withdrawal. So typically the way it works is that your funds will remain invested in the market in one way or another until the day you initiate a withdrawal. So you will always be invested in one way or another. Either this is through a stable value fund, meaning a less riskier form of investment, or a more aggressive type of investment. Dollar cost average through convenient payroll deduction. Yes. Now, this is a good thing, but it's only a good thing, I have to say, if you keep on making consistent matches. Meaning, it doesn't matter when you start contributing, as long as you keep on contributing when the market is low or high, and you don't, you know, move on funds like, without any strategy, you will really take advantage of this opportunity, because you'll get an opportunity to buy when the market is low as well as when the market is high. Well, not necessarily when the market is high, you do not want to do that, but mostly when the market is low. And we all know that people like to sell when the market is low and buy when the market is high, which is the opposite. You're supposed to buy when it's low. But I guess that's the fear that people have. We'll discuss all those things when we get to investing, and when we discuss our trading course. Fear is something that you should really take into consideration and manage your emotions when you're doing your investing, um, because it will really impact your portfolio over time. If you see you've lost like 10%, you sell your position, you see you know um, the market has performed well, and then you return to your position while it's 5% up, and you're just setting yourself up for a fall again, so that you will just be losing money in the long run. So it's really important to do your due diligence before like making rush decisions. So key point here is dollar cost averaging does not assure profit or protect against losses in market declining. Since dollar cost averaging involves continuous investing, regardless of fluctuating prices, investors must consider their level of comfort in continuing to invest during a declining market. So you should consider all these things. But again, the only way this is a benefit for you is if you keep on making consistent contributions. Moving on, the other point is may be allowed to make additional catch-up contributions if you are age 50. Yes, you will be allowed to make additional catch-up contributions. More on that on the next slide. We'll break it down into details so that you're aware, what goes on to it. If they change jobs, so let's say you have changed a job and you want to roll over your assets to a new record-keeping company that your new employer has. Okay, I'm not sure if I've described this word, but record keeping companies, these are the companies which manage your retirement plan. So, it may be something like Fidelity, Vanguard, or Mass Mutual. There are many of them out there. But essentially, once you separate from an employer, you have the ability to roll over the funds, and it's not a taxable situation, and you shouldn't even pay any fee. Um, if your record keeping company charges you a fee, I'm sorry, but based on my experience, these things, when you're doing a rollover, you're not charged any fee. The only thing you should be aware of though is that a 1099 will be generated for you for reporting purposes. Doesn't mean like you have to pay taxes on it. You're just reporting that the funds have been rolled over. All right. So you have that flexibility of consolidating all your account. Please keep in mind when you roll over your 457 assets to a 401 asset or an IRA, depending on your record keeping company, they may treat those funds different. So please make sure you ask them if the benefit of the 457 assets will remain the same. Meaning once you separate from employment, you can pull these funds at any time without restrictions, because you never know how they will categorize them when they get there. And that applies to any plan. When you're rolling over any plan to to a different plan, meaning either if it's a 401 to an IRA, or a 401 or 457 to a 401 or an IRA, you have to consider the rules for all these plans. You do not want to roll over the assets and you do not know how they categorize them when it comes to withdrawal. If you plan to withdraw the assets after you're 59 and a half anyway, it really doesn't matter, but you should really take into consideration how they treat the assets when they get there. I hope that is clear. If it's not, please leave a question. I'll be happy to answer your question. Again, if you like the content, give us a thumbs up. Lastly, if you retire or leave your employment, you can take a withdrawal penalty free. So you do not have to worry about penalties with the 457. That's the beautiful thing about the 457 plan. As long as you have left your employer, you decide you want your money, you can have access to your money right away. Okay, so we'll move on. I hope that was clear. Okay, lastly, we're going to discuss contributions. Okay, so for your 457 plan, your normal contribution limit for 2023 is 22,500. Now, the contribution limits may change from year to year. Sometimes, it may not change, but if they do, you can find that information on the IRS website, or you can just Google it. It will link you to the IRS website. Please go to the IRS website to confirm, and your record keeping company will update it, accordingly. All right, so the normal contribution limit is 22,500. Please keep in mind for the 457, these are typically your funds. Your employer will not match you on this type of plan. Again, it's a supplemental plan, meaning you already have a 401. Let's say you want an additional plan, and you get a 457 plan. um, Again, that's why you have the flexibility when it comes to you accessing your assets or your funds as soon as you separate from employer, because they're all your funds. All right. Employer age 50 or older may contribute up to 7,500 more for a total of 30,000. So that's another benefit there. So if you're age 50 and above, if you want to put more money away, you can do an additional 7,500. And better yet, employees taking advantage of the special pre-tax catch-up can contribute up to 22,500. Now, here's something that you should know, and I want to make this very clear. When you're doing additional contributions, you can either do one or the other. As you may have noticed, we said if you're age 50 and above, you can contribute an additional 7,500, making a total of 30,000. Or you can do a double of 22,500, which will bring your total to 45,000. So you can contribute up to 45,000 a year. But you cannot do, you cannot do 45,000 plus 7,500 again. You cannot do that. It's either you do an addition 7,500 or 22,500. All right, I hope that was clear. I hope this video is not really long. Thank you again for tuning in. If you have any questions, post them underneath. Thank you and be blessed.